Hi, I'm Dr. Cindy Dupuy. I have a PhD in learning disabilities. I do diagnostic evaluations, advocacy, and intervention. I'm also an adult with dyslexia and dysgraphia.
Hi, my name is Kim Sharman. I've worked with kids for the last 20 years with dyslexia and dysgraphia and ADHD. I have ADHD myself, and I work with kids of all ages, kindergarten through college.
Awesome. So today we are going to talk about dysgraphia and how it affects math. So tell why.
Ah, okay. I'll try to be succinct here. Dysgraphia is a big deal,
Mhm.
not a small deal. And if you think dysgraphia is just about having sloppy penmanship or not knowing your grammar and punctuation, it's way more than that. And in regards to math, of course, it will affect their ability to write the responses to word problems, but it affects a lot of other things too, such as lining up numbers, doing multi-step procedures of long division, long multiplication, understanding negative and positive numbers on a number line, adding negative and positive numbers. It has to do with left, right. How would you explain it, Cindy? Or how do you say that?
I would say that it's not so much the left right, it's the fatigue of having to do so much writing and doing it repetitively that most of our kids try and do it completely in their heads, and it becomes a limiting factor in their ability to do so.
But I also thought it had to do with understanding cause and effect and also like what comes, I don't know, why can't they do number lines, negative, positive?
Well, that may be a feature of their dyslexia with
Oh,
because dyslexia also affects your ability to do math as well, right? Which
okay.
direction am I going, right? If we have orthographic processing issues and we don't recognize print stability and we don't naturally orient left and right. So there's a high rate of ambidexterity in kids with dyslexia. I can write with my non-dominant hand upside down in cursive.
No way.
Yes, I can. That's kind of impressive.
That's so weird.
I used to wow people all the time because I can sit there and do it. I can write
That's,
my name upside down. It's
but
like,
you
and
still
with
have
my
your
non-dominant hand. And it's not a big deal. So, but what you're talking about with that orientation piece is a little more of the dyslexia characteristics, but we have a lot of overlap, right, between the
okay.
dyslexia and the dysgraphia. But what we're talking about with the dysgraphia piece is kids aren't showing their work, they're trying to hold it all in their head, and you get to a point of limited ability to do that. So, for parents that are watching this the first time, we're going to walk you through the exercise. If you've already done this exercise, you can skip ahead. If you haven't, you should take a minute and do this. Okay. So, I'm going to do a quick screen share here. We're going to have you, it's a two-part task, and the first part is you are going to write a sentence using three words. So, for example, a simple sentence using those three words would be the boy will walk to the truck. I don't want you to write a simple sentence. I want you to write a long, complex, interesting sentence that an English teacher would love to read because it's got lots of detail in it. Okay. So go ahead and write your sentence. And when you're done, come
Wait, do you
back.
want them to write a simple sentence and a complex sentence or just
One complex sentence.
that's it? Okay.
One complex sentence using boy, walk, and truck. Okay, so pause, do that now, and then come back. Okay, so now you've done that. So now we're going to give you the same task, but we're going to change one thing. So now we're going to give you the words dog, eat, and you can tell I wrote the first one beautifully when I wasn't trying to multitask here, and food. But now, when you go to write your sentence again, use your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, go left. If you're left-handed, go right. Write a long, complex, interesting sentence full of detail that a teacher would love to read. And when you're done with that, come back. Okay, so now that you are back, what do parents notice when they do this, Kim? What did you notice when you did this the first time?
What happens is those interesting longer verbs or adjectives or adverbs that you're adding to the sentence, or prepositional phrases that you wrote with your right hand to make the sentence, all of a
Dominant
sudden,
hand, if you're
your
left.
dominant hand, you don't want to do it with your non-dominant hand, because the physical act of writing is so arduous and so difficult that you're trying to make it as short as possible to get it over with.
I normally hear, I would say about 50 or 60% of parents, about 10 seconds into it, will start laughing. And that laughter is an expression of the like overwhelm, like, oh my God, this looks horrible. And I feel immature because my handwriting looks awful. And this, I don't like doing this, right? It's a release of that anxiety. So we have people write shorter sentences. They talk about their handwriting looking like their students' handwriting. You write less syntactically complex. You choose shorter words that are easier to write. Like you can just see the degradation very, very, very quickly. Okay, so now let's correlate that to doing a long division problem.
Oh boy, yes.
So it will remind everybody, and I'm going to turn my little board over to my graph side, right? So if we did something like,
Make it even.
we divided that by 3, right?
Sure.
There's lots of opportunity there when you think about how much you're pulling down, right? And the fact that you're doing this over and over again. And then there's opportunity here for a student that is going, I don't want to keep doing this over and over again. Now, when you're fast and you've done this a lot and you know how to do it very smoothly, and you can see I'm not carrying my lines down the way that I should. Like when you're fluid, it's not a big deal. But when you're a kid with dysgraphia doing 30 problems like this, and you can kind of watch my handwriting degrade as I go down and I start moving faster, right? Kids don't want to do that. Then, what's another example, Kim?
Wait, can I, before you rate, oh well.
Okay.
So another example was when Cindy was doing that long division problem, something that maybe you and I and Cindy all take for granted, or other people take for granted, is that on the top part of the division problem, you're actually multiplying to find out what the quotient is, what the answer is. On the bottom section of the problem, you're actually subtracting. The fact that you are doing, not only are you doing these multiple steps and having to keep the numbers in line, you're also doing several different mathematic functions or properties or whatever you call them that are different. And literally the kids are getting that mixed up. So that's why we do certain acronyms like dad, mother, sister, brother, rover, divide, multiply.
Oh, you made me lose it by saying it because it's not an acronym.
What's the
But
word?
anyhow, it's like Roy G. Biv. We all know what it is, and we cannot come up with it to save our lives.
Whatever, representation by a series of letters.
Right.
Something.
And you'll notice that as I'm sitting here, I have naturally started to fill it in on the grid. I will also tell you, I prefer doing math on a dry erase now versus pencil and paper, just because it's so smooth to write. When I'm working on it, given my dysgraphia, right? Now, the other thing that you'll notice is I'm naturally keeping it in the boxes, in part because the boxes are large enough, right? So we'll often recommend that kids use graph paper. And if they don't have graph paper, we have another amazing workaround, if I can find the right thing to show this. And I may not have the right kind of paper here. Nope, I don't. Kim, you've got notebook paper there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
show how you do it with...
You would just take your notebook paper and turn it sideways.
And then do your problem. So go ahead and write one out really quick. Just do a quick long division problem on that to show people what it looks like. So what we see happen with kids is they'll forget to put in a square, or they'll forget to put in the positive or negative number when they're doing algebra, or their writing is so indistinct that their numbers look like other numbers. And so you can't recognize what number it is, and they make a computational error because of their quality of their handwriting, not because they actually did the math wrong. And I see that all the time, like nines that look like sevens, fives that look like sixes. That's a beautiful example there, Kim. And you can see that she's now staying in the columns because she has lined everything up. So you don't have to have graph paper. You can just take a notepad and turn it sideways, and you line paper and just turn it sideways to help kids line it up. Shy away from really small boxes and really narrow lines, like not college rule. Give kids room to write on the page. And then here's another thing. This is a big one for teachers. Think about how many problems a kid actually needs to do. You were giving an example of a student that I sent your direction who got a big math packet, and you went through and did what?
Well, he's a fourth grader, but he's in advanced math. And so he's being given sixth grade work, a big fat math packet that basically he was telling himself how horrible he was at math. So what I explained to the mother, it's quality, not quantity. So we would go through each section of that huge math packet. I would determine whether he's got the concept in maybe one or two problems. Okay. If I was a little confused, I would make him do three. As soon as I knew that he got the problems or that I fixed it, we went on to the next section, and I would pick another one or two problems. So I tell the parents, you're in charge, not the school, when it comes to this type of situation. You don't destroy a child a dysgraphic child by, he can't get through the packet if you're going to make him do every problem.
Right.
What you care about is, does he understand the concept of long division, long multiplication, adding fractions, whatever it is.
Right.
But the physical act of making him write over and over and over and over again destroys the learning for the rest of the packet.
Now, there's another option which we have not mentioned in the past, and I'm going to pull it up on my iPad here, which is called Mod Math.
Yes.
So it is, let me pull up a new one here.
I'm glad you're showing that, because I just am having trouble getting people to use it.
Okay, so when you use Mod Math, it is essentially a calculator function on an iPad, and you would type in your number, and it will do operational signs, it'll do square roots, it'll do all sorts of different stuff. And you can just type it in, and then you can extract it and send it to a teacher. And this will move around, and your graph paper is as big as you would like, and it's got page divisions on it. And you can set it up so that a kid can actually show what they know without having to do the handwriting. And I would also say it's totally okay for a parent to scribe for the kid. Tell me what number you want me to write. Just say it orally and I will write it for you. Ta-da! Suddenly we've circumvented the whole thing.
Just to clarify with Mod Math, it is not a calculator. So just because it just does the writing, and you can, when Cindy pulled that last one up, you can also get it in graph paper form too. They can different backgrounds.
The one that, anyway, keep going.
Yeah. But in addition to the fact is, when the only little trick is, like, you can do your math problems, but the kid would, from a worksheet, but the kid has to transcribe them unless the teacher transcribes for them to the Mod Math screen.
Yeah.
And then on the screen, you can literally send that screen image of all the work you've done directly to the teacher's email.
Right.
Again, this takes patience and people willing to work together. But if you have a kid who has such poor handwriting that they can't even read their own writing, neither can the teacher, it is a solution. Right. And it was invented by a kid and his dad. The kid has dysgraphia.
Right. And so if we're going to move away from that just even a little bit, I would also encourage parents, if you know you have a kid with dysgraphia, as we've said many, many times, it is okay for you to scribe. I scribe for students all the time. Tell me what you want it to say. And when I get kids that are stuck, I will give them a simple version, show them what the target is, take it away and say, now create your own. Those were my words, now create yours. So I can model what I need them to do, and make them then create something even better with more depth and nuance. So don't hesitate to do what is right for your child. And I don't want to exaggerate it, but if you go back to the exercise, if you can imagine doing that with your non-dominant hand all day, every day at school, your fatigue level and your exhaustion and your frustration is just going to grow and grow and grow. And by relieving some of that, you give your child the opportunity to demonstrate their actual knowledge base, feel good about their product, and show off their capability without having that level of frustration that then haunts them. I mean, this is why we talk about self-esteem issues in our students, because everybody else can do it. Why can't I? Everybody else gets 100 on this. Why am I not getting 100? And it's exhausting for them.
Well, and I will exaggerate it because I think it's a huge problem in the sense that I have many wonderful lawyer parents coming in here, and I tell them, when you tell me that your kid's lazy and he just won't do his work on paper, or that your kid doesn't want to do his writing for homework, I said, I want you to write in your non-dominant hand all of your legal work for an entire day, and you tell me how stubborn and angry that you will be.
Right.
And by saying to him that he's or her that they're lazy, that's not a true statement until you spend a day in their shoes.
There's a guy who wrote a wonderful book called The Myth of Laziness. And I'm not remembering his name off the top of my head, but it's a great book that addresses this very issue. When kids are refusing to do work, there is a reason.
There's a reason.
Behavior, as you say, Kim, all the time, behavior is communication. And if you have a kid communicating to you by not doing work or by acting out in the classroom, something is happening.
It is your job to find out. It is your job to find out. And just by
punishing, the school can't figure it out, you need to go outside the school to figure it out.
And the school doesn't understand dysgraphia quite frequently. I'm not saying they all are that way, but quite a few don't.
We run into all sorts of misunderstandings about what dysgraphia is, and not seeing that it goes just beyond the motoric component of writing, but it goes into a whole bunch of other stuff. We have other dysgraphia videos, watch those. But we thought we would do this one on math today because it's so poignant and appropriate because of our recent experience with this one student. But
hey, can I say one last thing?
Yep.
We forgot to mention math facts because of orthographic processing.
Because of retrieval fluency.
Oh, retrieval
fluency. Rapid naming.
So these kids can have a 12th grade math conceptual understanding, but they get 0 on their mad minutes. That's another topic, but that's also part of dysgraphia.
And dyslexia.
And they need to use their math, the multiplication charts.
Yes. On that note,
this thing.
Questions or comments, please leave them. We love to hear from you.